American, Australian, and British accent. So let's check this out. The worldwide spread of English creates a variety of English accents as a result of the cultural and linguistic evolution experience. However, of the English accent, there are three most famous accents among people who speak English every day, namely British English, American English, and Australian English. English is native to the mother tongue in these three multicultural countries, UK, America, and Australia. Their population almost entirely speak the same language, but English will look the same if we only look at it as a whole. However, when someone speaks then from the way he spells the word or spelling, we can identify whether he is using UK, US, or Australian English. Yeah, like Indonesian, as the national language of a country with thousands of islands, it will also be sounded with different accents, especially in terms of speech. Most Javanese, for example, will speak Indonesian with voiced consonants that are not pronounced correctly. It's the same with English. Australians speak English in a slightly different way from the way Americans or British people use it, and vice versa. English has been spoken for a long time in many countries. This, of course, brings change to the English language itself. There are various accents and dialects of English, almost all language, including English, have a dialect. According to Richard Pollard and Weber in Santono, what is called dialect is a language variant that differs in speech, vocabulary, or experience and grammar. Likewise with American, British, and Australian. The difference is related to spelling. One of the easiest way to tell if he's American, British, or Australian is by his accent. Accents are formed by themselves due to difference in the environment and culture at a certain time. Usually, we hear more of the American accent, which is used more in movies and TV. The accent has no significant features unless we want to identify further by region. For example, the New Jersey accent and the Texas accent are different and have their own characteristics. The most prominent things about the difference in speaking, spelling between US, UK, and Australian English is the letter A with the letter R, because the placement or English syllable and pace also varies in England, Australia, and America. So we will explain in more detail in this video. So first we want to explain about the characters, accent of American, British, and Australian accent, pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary. Formulation of problem is 1. What is the history of American, Australian, and British English? I don't know. And 2. How to know the difference in character from American, Australian, and British accent? Yeah. And number 3. How about the pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary of American, Australian, and British? Okay, and in this video, the purpose 1. To describe the history of American, Australian, and British language. 2. To know the characters of American, Australian, and British accent. And 3. To know how the pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary of America, Australia, and British accent. Alright, so we want to discussion for the first about the history of America, Australia, and British language. Okay, for the first, we want to explain about history of America. The United States are the country that used English as a dialect to communicate among its residents from the start. This long history has made the United States one of the virgin countries that finally use English as its national language. Yeah, most Americans today use a dialect of American English as their vernacular. There are many dialects in the United States, including the East Coast and West Coast region, Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, and Eastern New England, a region with unique dialects. Yeah, the reason is, since the founding of the United States, these areas have become a stopper for Britain, and automatically there is culture and accultures, including language and social life. British immigrants to the United States began to land in the 17th century. Since then, English, widely known through immigration, American English, has experienced a mix of many dialects, including Europe, African, and Asian dialect influences. The United States became the first country to primarily use English as a means of communication. Surveys show that 2/3 of world English speakers are Americans. 28 of the 50 states in the United States have agreed to use English as the state language. Although initially English was only used as a general communication language, gradually English became the mother tongue. So Americans are becoming increasingly familiar with this universal language. Today, the United States, as a large country with global influence in the fields of science, culture, technology, and politics, has made American English a global language. Even American English is now more popular than the original English. The spread of American English in country around the world is also through student exchange program, bilateral and multilateral cultural activities, and through film, music, and entertainment, which are now spreading very rapidly today. American English more popular than English which originated in Britain itself. This is due to many factors. Besides the United States being a superpower, the United States has also spread the American version of English through frequent culture and artistic exchange, such as through films, music, and others. Alright, we move to Australian. For Richards, the Australian accent and English first appeared when Europe set foot in this land in 1788. Nearly 50 years since the British colony was created in Australia. For Richards, English speakers here have claimed that the Australian dialect is the most pure. He suggests a century after the arrival of the British, the emergence of social movement in the 1990 and 190 replaced Australian English forever. These Australian dialect words, among others, were taking form to absorptions and military terminology and Aboriginal language and the dialect terminology used by the criminals at that time. Various informal names were recorded which are still often used today. In Australian English, there are many borrowings from various languages: German, Polish, Belgian, and other Europes, which became famous during the gold rush. Therefore, each person's internal words and phrase are often rooted in the certain positions. Australian English used words from origin of England without expression which are represent a significant combination of cultures and language. So before independence, the English spoken there was heavily influenced by British English. And the last brings chronological history of the English language is started from the entry of the invasion of other nation under Great Britain. It is estimated that the Briton tribe first occupied Great Britain, then the Romans in the early. Next came the Dutch invasion, then changed to the Anglo people, then the Saxons, the Danish invasion, and finally the Norman French. There are other sources that say that the English language is currently 70% is the stock of the Anglo-Saxons. For the word Anglo, it became the word England, which means the land of the Anglo people, and the language they use is spoken English. The successive change in the entry of the invasion led to the formation of language and cultural accuracy that form the English language today. So that the English today used today is certainly not the same as the one used by Shakespeare when writing the words of Romeo and Juliet's home in ATC. English continues to face renewal and evolution from time to time. From the Old English era, it always faces acculturation of some of the invading tribes. In conclusion, English began to form in the United Kingdom. The accent they used there was like the which was pronounced British, although it was certainly a bit different from the British that it currently used because it is always undergoing evolution. But there lies the origin of the British. So next, we want to explain about the difference in American, Australian, and British accent characteristics. Accent is a relatively underexplored aspect of automatic speech recognition or ASR and text-speech or TTS system. Accent variation is considered as one of the dominant causes of deterioration in speech recognition performance. By the difference in pronunciation, this transcription difference can be broadly categorized into two classes: phonetics and phonology. Phonetic and phonology difference. Phonetic is a part of science in linguistics, which study the sound of language made by humans regardless of the use of the sound as a differentiator of meaning in the language. The sound of the language of more than 100 different human sounds around the world, including English, transcribed in the form of sound symbol called the International Phonetic Alphabet or abbreviated as IPA. With phonetic symbol, people who are not from countries who speak English can pronounce the word of the language easily. For the reason, the recognizing phonetic symbol make it easier for us to pronounce things say properly. Phonetic symbol help people to pronounce English word more precisely because you can read the pronunciation of this English word. English also has letters consisting of vowels and consonants. However, the letter of or the English alphabet do not fully represent the sound of English word. For that reason, we need phonetic symbols so that they can help and make it easier for us to read English word more accurately, make it easier for non-native to master English pronunciation and clarify the comparison between words that have homophones. For example, goat and God. The organ include the lungs, larynx, pharynx, nasal cavity, oral cavity, lips, teeth, tongue, volume, palate, velum, and uvula. Speech tools are divided into two, namely passive articulator and active articulator. Passive articulator are organs that move during the articulation of sounds such as the upper lip, upper teeth, and alveoli. Active articulators move toward passive articulators to produce the various language sounds. In various ways, the main active articulators are the tongue, uvula, and mandible. For example, bilabial sounds occurs when two lips are tightly closed. Two lips. Yeah. The saline lips such as bean, cup, and heaven or cabbage. Yes, if you open the dictionary, then we'll experience this symbol in the word definition section as shown in the following video. Yeah, okay, next we will know what phonology. Phonology is the science of the vocabulary of a language, phonemes, and their distribution. Phonology is different from phonetics. Phonetics studies how the phonemes sound of a language are layers or pronounced. Phonetics also studied in the working procedures of human organs, especially those that communicate with the use of language. Consists of vowels, consonants, diphthongs, and clusters. Phonology consists of two parts, namely phonetics and phonemics. The similarities in the phoneme symbol organizable in the character or indistinguishability of phonemes. For example, articulation processing, the British accent as recorded by Cambridge University Clarkson Lexicon has 5 extra vowels: AX, EA, UE, O, compared to Americans as transcribed by Carnegie Mellon University CMU Dictionary. Australian English has distinctive vowels such as A instead of I, and AU for AU, SAS an alternative of I, and AU for AU. For example, in BRA, this consonant sound T in front of vowel of between vowels. In American English, it sounds T in front of a vowel, but is flipped when it goes between vowels. Like a quick T, we'll use the special symbol D. It sounds like the Spanish or Italian flip R from word tourist in British tourist and US tourist, Peter and British Peter and US Peter. Yes, Australian accent also features flapping. This is the softening of T in the middle of words or at the end of word between vowels. When the T sound is flipped, it'll sound a lot more like a soft D sound, therefore letter or letter. Yes, may at times sound like letter. The shift from the British diphthong AU to O is also very distinguishing. The shift consists of the change of the mid-central unrounded vowel to the close mid-back rounded vowel in the first vowel of the diphthongs. This shift is considered to be systematic in the example for this shift are shown. So we get to move Sarah Nur Azkiyah to explain about the spelling, pronunciation, vocabulary in ATC. So let's check this out.
Hello everyone, my name is Sarah Nur Azkiyah. You can call me Sarah. I'm from class 3E with my NPM number is 2010-610-634. In this video, I will explain about the difference between pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary from American accents, Australian accent, and British accent. Okay, here we go. Accents, in a narrow sense, is the way a word is pronounced. while a broad sense accent is how someone pronounces words or how to pronounce words. Accents can also be a characteristic of a person in terms of region, ethnicity, caste, or economic class of a person. English is one of the most popular languages in the world. This also makes English an international language and the language most interested in learning language. In English, there are several accents, including American accents, Australian accents, and British accents. It does not really matter whether the accent is British, American, or Australian. Speakers from these countries all understand each other very easily. It is very unlikely that an influence from any of these countries English to be unclear. The way we can tell which accent is used and what are the main differences between American English, Australian English, and British English is with pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary. Okay. The first is pronunciation. In this case, the pronunciation of both American accents, Australian accents, and British accents has a clear difference. Sounds quite clear to the ear. Indonesia itself is more common with an American accent due to a large number of films and songs that are broadcast on TV as well as the internet and social media. In addition, the pronunciation of words from the American accent itself is less complicated than British accent, which sounds stiff and is considered an old form of American English. Here are some examples of the same words but with different pronunciation from the American accent, Australian accent, and British accents. Okay. In American accents, we can say Tuesday. Tuesday. In Australian accents, we can say Tuesday. Tuesday. In British accents, we can say Tuesday. Tuesday. Okay. And in American accents, we can say tuna. Tuna. In Australian accents, we can say tuna. Tuna. In British accents, we can say tuna. Tuna. In American accents, we can say news. News. In Australian accents, we can say news. News. In British accents, we can say news. News. In American accents, we can say duty. Duty. In Australian accents, we can say duty. Duty. In British accents, we can say duty. Duty. In American accent, we can say modern. Modern. In Australian accents, we can say modern. Modern. In British accents, we can say modern. Modern. In American accents, we can say bottle. Bottle. In Australian accents, we can say bottle. Bottle. In British accents, we can say bottle. Bottle. In American accents, we can say sorry. Sorry. In Australian accents, we can say sorry. Sorry. In British accents, we can say sorry. Sorry. In American accents, we can say shopping. Shopping. In Australian accents, we can say shopping. Shopping. In British accents, we can say shopping. Shopping. In American accents, we can say borrow. Borrow. In Australian accents, we can say borrow. Borrow. In British accents, we can say borrow, borrow. In American accents, we can say daughter, daughter. In Australian accents, we can say daughter, daughter. In British accents, we can say daughter, daughter. In American accents, we can say meeting, meeting. In Australian accents, we can say meeting, meeting. In British accents, we can say meeting, meeting. In American accents, we can say little, little. In Australian accents, we can say little, little. In British accents, we can say little, little. In American accents, we can say percentage, percentage. In Australian accents, we can say percentage, percentage. In British accents, we can say percentage, percentage. In American accents, we can say interview, interview. In Australian accents, we can say interview, interview. In British accents, we can say interview, interview. In American accents, we can say car, car. In Australian accents, we can say car, car. In British accents, we can say car, car. In American accents, we can say heart, heart. In Australian accents, we can say hard, hard. In British accents, we can say hard, hard. In American accents, we can say parking, parking. In Australian accents, we can say parking, parking. In British accents, we can say parking, parking. In American accents, we can say shark, shark. In Australian accents, we can say shark, shark. In British accents, we can say shark, shark. In American accents, we can say better, better. In Australian accents, we can say better, better. In British accents, we can say better, better. In American accent, we can say water, water. In Australian accents, we can say water, water. In British accents, we can say water, water. In American accents, we can say Harry Potter, Harry Potter. In Australian accents, we can say Harry Potter, Harry Potter. In British accents, we can say Harry Potter, Harry Potter. In American accents, we can say later, later. In Australian accents, we can say later, later. In British accents, we can say later, later. In American accents, we can say sailor, sailor. In Australian accents, we can say sailor, sailor. In British accents, we can say sailor, sailor. We can see that there are quite clear pronunciation differences between the pronunciation of words from American accents, Australian accents, and British accents, which even though the words are written and spelled the same, it is possible that Americans, Australians, and British pronounce them differently. For example, number 1, the pronunciation of the letter T. In Indonesian itself, the pronunciation of the word T in American and Australian accent sounds like a D, while a British accent it is T. An example, American pronunciation is daughter, daughter, and Australian accent is daughter, daughter, while its British pronunciation it is read daughter, daughter. Number 2, then on the pronunciation of the letter R, where in the pronunciation of the American word the letter R sounds very clear. For example, car, car. While the letter R in the pronunciation of Australian and British word sounds faint and even missing, like car, car. Number 3, pronunciation of the word A. In American accents, the A sounds like an A or even an I. For example, Harry Potter, Harry Potter. While Australian accents and British, A sounds quite similarly like the sound of pronunciation A. For example, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, and Harry Potter, Harry Potter. The next one is spelling. Spelling is the ability to arrange letters, words, and sentences that are good and correct, so that they will be arranged into the right words or sentences. The purpose of spelling this word is so that we can arrange words and write them correctly according to what our writing will be intended for. British spelling is considered as the old form of spelling, while American spelling itself is considered a form of spelling deviation, like removing some letters. In the form of spelling between American and British, there are quite significant differences, and the form of spelling from Australian is almost entirely the same as the spelling from of British. The difference is usually only one or two letters difference. As we can see, check. In American spelling is CHECK. In Australian and British spelling is CHEQUE. Check. Next one is gray. In American spelling is GRAY. And in Australian and British spelling is GREY. Gray. The next one is tire. In American spelling is TIRE. In Australian and British spelling is TYRE. Jewelry. In American spelling is JEWELRY, and in Australian and British spelling is JEWELLERY. Aluminum. In American spelling is ALUMINUM. In Australian and British spelling is ALUMINIUM. Mustache. In American spelling is MUSTACHE. In Australian and British spelling is MOUSTACHE. The next one is airplane. In American spelling is AIRPLANE. In Australian and British spelling is AEROPLANE. Pajamas. In American spelling is PAJAMAS. In Australian and British is PYJAMAS. Color. In American spelling is COLOR. In Australian and British spelling is COLOUR. The next one is organize. In American spelling is ORGANIZE. In Australian and British spelling is ORGANISE. Favor. In American spelling is FAVOR. In Australian and British spelling is FAVOUR. Labor. In American spelling is LABOR, and in Australian and British spelling is LABOUR. Traveling. In American spelling is TRAVELING. ing. In Australian and British spelling is travelling. And then the next one is dialogue. In American spelling is dialog. In Australian and British spelling is dialogue. The next one is theater. In American is theater. And Australian and British spelling is theatre. The last one is defense. In American spelling is defense. In Australian and British spelling is DAFANCE, which we can see from the differences in the form of the spelling of the words. Australian and British are usually spelled the same, but American has quite a few differences. Include number 1. In Australian and British, the ending is over, while in American the ending is or. For example, like color. Number 2. In Australian and British, the ending is SE, while in American the ending is ZZE. For example, like organize. In Australian and British use double letters, while in American only one. For example, like traveling. Number 4. In Australian and British the suffix is RE, while in American it is ER. An example is matter, on tether, and tether. Number 5. In Australian and British the suffix is LOGUE, while in America it is LOG. For example, like dialogue. And number 6. In Australia and British use the suffix CE, while in America use the word suffix SE. For example, like defense. Number 7. In Australia and British use the word E, while in America use the word I. For example, like artifact. And the last one is in America there is the omitted letter U when combined with A or O. For example, like mustache. While in Australia and British still use the letter U for mustache. And the last one is vocabulary. Maybe for an English learner, this is a complicated one to distinguish various vocabularies and is the most important role in English. In the vocabulary between Americans, Australians, and British, there are many differences. Even so, it does not affect the meaning of the difference in the vocabulary. Vocabulary itself means a collection of words which, when put together, have meaning. This vocabulary is composed of more than one vocabulary that will become a sentence. To be able to master English, one must master vocabulary. In English, there are many vocabularies. Like in Americans, a vocabulary is cookie. In British, like biscuit. In Australia, biscuit. In America is candy. In British, sweets. In Australia is lollies. In American English is sneakers. In British English is trainers. In Australian English is runners. In American English is bell pepper. In British English is pepper. In Australian English is capsicum. In American English is French fries. In British is chips. And Australian English is hot chips. In American English is pants. In British English is trousers. And in Australian English is pants. As can be seen from the above, there are many differences in American, Australian, and English vocabulary. Even if we take one vocabulary above, the other one will not cause misunderstandings when communicating. Even so, it is enough for every country to know and understand these differences without feeling any difficulties. So that was the way how we can distinguish between American accents, Australian accents, and British accents by paying attention to pronunciation, spelling, and vocabulary.